Thanks for staying with us. It's a pleasure to bring you the news. This is your election headquarters, and now the Director of Research at the Presidency, Dr. Isaac Owusu-Mensah, has assured that the Elections Committee will refer all vote-buying allegations to the party's National Council for action. Delegates at some polling stations allegedly received inducement from representatives of some candidates. Others also threatened not to vote because agents of the candidates refused to pay them cash meant for transportation.
Okay, I received 7.5.
From which of the aspirants?
The aspirants, Canada Japan, he pay 3 million, and then Bawumia pay 4 million, and executives then pay 50 cedis. So we complete 7.5.
Are you happy with what you've received so far?
Oh, I'm not happy, but still now will be the one when it's in pocket. You just give us. Sure, understand?
Which of the constituencies do you belong? Are you a delegate yourself?
Yes, I'm delegate. I'm voting for Ken.
Which of the constituencies do you belong to in Ablekuma here?
Me, I did for a Owusu-Mensah electoral area.
My name is Entry Urudu Francis from Ablekuma Central.
So how much have you been able to also receive from the aspirants so far?
Oh, I received 300 cedis from Canada Japan's camp and 400 cedis from Honorable Bawumia, Dr. Bawumia camp, and the national 50 cedis. Yeah.
Are you okay with the amount?
Oh, I'm not okay, but I'll take it so.
So that is to say that Ablekuma Central here, the aspirants, mainly the Bawumia and as well as Kennedy, they are giving you money to vote for them, to influence.
Yes, to vote for them. But the other aspirants, we've not had anything from them.
Why?
I don't know.
So where did your vote go to?
My vote went to Bawumia. Yes.
Is it because he paid you bigger?
No. I just love the man.
So far, Bawumia is 400 Ghana. If we have to do so far, Bawumia is 400 Ghana. Your new Adenta electoral area. How much them say your coordinator on Honorable Ken also support Bawumia. Enunti sikano o man fa ahye nsem kom da kosi nipa fofo e na ono so ne cruise o ye 4 o ma chi sikano nyina nti sie mo to banana mo to banana ka na boy be kwa ko to atia ono okay because say o mo yiyim sa de hu no say nipa 4 no kwa na be to banana nti o ma yi because the CI na ye ko wura mu yiye no o mo provide bi ba ko de 8000 kan ho no de adwane a ye hu no tra acho di ni do me de yabo Charles me ye police station chairman o Bible way ana na mo pese yama musika samatu o nya se pese o mai scan e TNT because me ba bia me free by ma nya ka e na me ye adwuma nso e na ma ja ma adwuma ho na next me ma ba yi gina ha me baba and next Saturday me ye adwuma nkasa e na ma ja ho aba ha nti e se otima me TNT ne ye nya bribe ne ye je o ya me boldua me akon ha se sie o ya me boldua me frame krom so boldua so ma me wan sidia e ba di obi ma yeska mo na ma ko chiska na die no ya me boldua se sie e na o se ma miska obi am miska kwa be glass o miska what do you mean Mako chase Canada no kwa no ka o bi didi o matini ye ku o ho no support o one city o man farmer ye one city o man.
While reacting to these, Dr. Isaac Owusu-Mensah said the party will look into the allegations and take action on them. But former national chairman of the NPP, Peter McMahon, believes the special prosecutor and the Economic and Organized Crime Office, YOCO, must investigate the allegations.
What I'm saying is that this is a national issue, and it comes under the responsibilities of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. I remember there was this DCE elections in Jabin, Ashanti, and the candidate who President Akufo-Addo nominated paid bribes to some of the assembly members who were supposed to approve his nomination. And they went against that. They took the money but voted against him. The matter ended up in the office of the special prosecutor, if you recall. So it's within the responsibilities of the Office of the Special Prosecutor to investigate and arrest some of these people. You cannot go into as a delegate and claim that if they don't give you the money, you are not going to vote. How?
Would we see the party make some sort of corrections or introduce new guidelines following what we've heard and seen today? Because this is widespread. Now we know the vice president's camp has been given 400 Ghana cedis. Kennedy Japan's camp has been given 300 Ghana cedis to all delegates.
Whatever the party would do, if we get a national consensus on this matter, and we don't even need a national consensus because it's already in the Special Prosecutors Act, OSP Act, and that if Nigeria EFCC, Economic Financial Crimes Commission of Nigeria, have arrested vote-buying people in February, in Lagos, in Kaduna, in all other places. So nobody can be bold and give out monies the way people were crying about monies on this video in Nigeria. You can't do that. You'll be arrested. You will be arrested. So let the Office of the Special Prosecutor go after these people and let's see its effect on the national agenda of vote buying.
But this is still on the issue of alleged vote buying during the NPP's presidential primaries. Director General of the National Lottery Authority, Sami Ewuku, who also worked as campaign coordinator for Team Bawumia, says there's nothing wrong with the provision of transport and other allowances for delegates.
Let's also not be hypocritical. You go around to campaign, and people also leave whatever they are doing to make a sacrifice to meet you. At that time, I'm talking about the campaign time before I bring it to the election day. And at that time, the party had not even opined, the party had not properly settled that we are voting at this venue, the time and all that. So they were all canvassing for votes. I leave whatever I'm doing to meet you at a distance, at a certain point of convergence. And when I'm leaving and you give me 100 cedis to support my going back, the 200 cedis looking at the distance I'm coming from, I don't think that is bad. That is point number one. Number two, the nomination forms of the aspirant, it is stated that you must be resourceful. Either you have the resources or you must be resourceful for you to be able to help us as a party. These two candidates, in fact, these four, these gentlemen, all signed up to it. Nobody runs a campaign from his pocket entirely. Not even Donald Trump could do it. And that is why all of them launched a fundraising form of activities. Kennedy Japan did, Dr. Bawumia did, Priya Kuto did, Dynamo, almost all of them. So that FMFR Power is convinced that maybe Kwadwo Poku can be a good leader for us. Okay, Kwadwo, maybe I'm chipping in my 500 cedis or 100 to support this journey of yours. Many of the funds that I know from Dr. Bawumia's side was raised through many of these people coming together to help.
So the 400 was not to influence the vote.
Because you cannot. Yes, all I'm saying is these major political parties, they always give support, the aspirants. The NPP as a political party gave support to these delegates to also help assist them in their transportation. The party I know gave, I think, 50 cedis or so. And we do it every time that we have a special delegate conference, delegate congress, delegate conference.
So buses, for instance, cannot be provided.
We do sometimes. We do sometimes. But the reason why this time.
I'm looking at the figures.
So let me tell you why. You know why?
81 million. Over 81 million.
These are because you've done these analysis thinking that it's coming from somebody's pocket.
I'm not saying it's
so
even if it's not coming from somebody's pocket. It's costing you 81 million. 675,600.
Democracy. Winston Churchill said, I've heard several arguments against democracy not being the best form of government and all. But I said the critics of democracy have also not been able to give us an alternative to it. So in the absence of anything good, the West is accepted to be the best.
It's time now to digest this issue further, and I've been joined by Mustafa Bande, he's Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Haruna Mohammed, Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, and Michael Buedu, fundraising manager of GII. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me this evening. And I'll start with you, Mr. Bande. We've heard from individuals who support your flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama. We've heard from some party faithful. But as a party, the NDC, what is your general reaction to the election of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and these issues of alleged vote buying?
Thank you very much. Generally, I think that there are many people who are expecting the NDC to congratulate Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. To us, they don't deserve one because basically Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's candidature is a rebrand of Nana Akufo-Addo's ambition for a third term, and that if you go behind Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, what you will find is Nanado, Gabi, and Kenofuriata. We find it very difficult to believe that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is a character on himself that Ghanaians should trust because he's being used as a person. He's been used by Nanado for the past 16 years since the MPP was handed over to them. We also believe that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Mr. Bande.
Yeah. We also believe that.
Hello, Mr. Fagbande. Well, we seem to have a challenge with his line. Apologies for that. Now, let me go to Haruna Mohammed, who is Deputy General Secretary of the NPP. Thank you for your time. And we just heard from Mr. McMahon, we heard from Mr. Samir Wuku, and others who've been condemning this allegation of vote buying. We had delegates openly sharing details of how much they received. Now, the big question has to do with political party financing, who gave these monies, looking at the quantum. But the other question is, if indeed these monies were meant for transportation, shouldn't it be left for the party to handle that? Should candidates be giving out monies for transportation?
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Haruna Mohammed. Did you get my question?
Yes, I got your question.
Right.
Yes, I say good evening to your charity viewers out there. You have heard the people clearly. None of them have said that they were giving the money to buy their conscience. You've heard one of the aspirants leading member come out to say that they gave them transport to support them. And we all know how politicking is done in this country. It's not only the FDP, including the NDC. They've mentioned how much the political party, the MPP, had given. And if the candidates are giving them transport, that is left with appropriate bodies to look at it. But if they say that they were buying their conscience, they gave them to bribe them, that is essentially what we would all have to look at it. And if I am hearing that some people are calling that they want to file a case on that or call for investigation, I think that the investigation should be expanded to include what former President John Mahama, during his time, even though the NDC has given, he also went ahead and gave them. This investigation should be expanded to include all these things so that we can summarily give opinion on how political parties handle such transport or giving out money to delegates.
Mr. Mohammed, I knew that you would go into the arena of equalization, but the question here is, your party provided monies to these people, 50 cedis. We're talking about the MPP presidential primaries. Let's stick to that, please. So your party provided 50 cedis for each candidate. We are told, allegedly, that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia provided 400 cedis, Kennedy Ejapon provided 300 cedis, and for the other candidates, no monies were provided. My question to you is, if this is indeed for transportation, is it necessary for individuals to provide these monies? You are claiming here that there's no one who's openly admitted that these monies influenced their decision to vote. But we have on tape people who actually were saying that they won't vote for a certain candidate because they hadn't received monies from that particular candidate. Shouldn't we leave this to the party is more holistic, isn't it? Rather than individuals showing financial strength here, which could certainly influence a delegate's decision.
If your question is right, if I heard you, that should candidates be given transport?
Can't we restrict this to the parties? Shouldn't we agree that allow the party to do it instead of candidates?
Yeah, we can restrict that. But if the party gives transport and the candidate feels that he can also give transport to somebody, what is wrong? If the candidate says he's going to give transport to somebody and not necessarily to influence the vote of that person, all of us are fighting against vote buying. But in this case, they are coming out to tell you that they are giving out this money to support their transportation. During the voter registration, parties were giving money for transportation. Your reporters were in there. So it doesn't necessarily tell you that they are giving it because they are voting. But even at the time they were registering, they were still giving them money for transportation. So they are genuinely giving them money for transportation. If you buy food and then you buy with one meat and then somebody comes to buy two other meat and ask you, will you take it and throw it away and say that because it is somebody else giving me that meat? Too much meat doesn't spoil the soup.
Gage Michael Buedu, fundraising manager of GII. Mr. Buedu, you've heard all these defense for the monies that were given to the delegates. What is your opinion on what you've heard so far?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your listeners. I think that the defense, that the spirited defense that the political party and their representatives are putting up is just an old trick in the book. I mean, here again, go to the various public sector or public service delivery outlets, and then they'll tell you, put weight on the file, give us goro, do this. It's an old trick. It's just about manipulating the lexicon to make it feel less dirtier and less wrongful. And that is all that our politicians are doing. But the reality is this. As a people, now that we are talking about it, what we need to be doing is to be looking at, do we having a black and white legislation that criminalizes vote buying? You know, the whole vote buying thing had been defined hinging on the intention to influence a voting decision. And therefore, when one argues that, well, our intention is not to influence voting decision, they think they can get away with it. We must look at tightening a piece of legislation and ensure that it is wrong and it is criminal. But apart from talking about the legality and the criminality aspect of it, let's even look at the morality of it. This is a country where people are losing their investment, what they call the haircut. People are losing their lives because we cannot afford 4 million debt and dialysis. If you calculate the spending of the one who gave 300, that would be 57,732,300 cedis for just a day spending. If you calculate what was spent by the one who gave 400, the person spent 76,976,400 cedis. Couldn't this, I mean, let's talk about patriotism. Let's talk about a party in government and desirous to elevate Ghanaians from poverty and from hardship. Couldn't these resources be deployed to ameliorate the difficulties that Ghanaians are going through? So if you take the legal argument, it's untenable. They don't win. If you take the moral argument, it's even murkier. So let those who are arguing that you should give transportation and that they want to come across as the most charitable, think through it and know that what we are doing to ourselves as a country is not helping anybody. We are making politics more expensive by the day. And we'll get to the stage where the depth of your pocket will determine who rules, not how intelligent and how laudable your argument or your thoughts are for the country. I think we must do something about it. And the time is now. Right. We must all now begin to champion our one of the things that also hurts so much is that when the media interview persons who are alleged to have collected the whatever TNT vote or buying resources and all the things, we only ask them the questions, but we don't put it to them that by even collecting it in itself is evil, it's wrong. It's not right. We need to. We have to come to the time where we name and shame, irrespective of which side of the coin you belong. We need to shame people.
Right. Thank you for bringing that in, Mr. Boedi, because we have to make it clear that this is not the first time. Even on this platform, we've had conversations of alleged vote buying. In the previous elections, it's been very topical. In the NDC's presidential primaries, it was topical. And in the NPP's, it's also become topical. The problem here is when we try to equalize, when it's solutions we're looking for. We are approaching an election year. And once again, the issue of political party financing will come up strongly. Seeing all these indicators in the primaries that have just happened this year, what are your concerns about what we are likely going to see in 2024 if no, like you say, legislation or black and white written down codes are attached to this particular concept?
Well, we are only going to see, an escalation of this because you see, when we are seeing this astronomical or frightening figures in inter-party election. Then what about national elections? It's going to be worse. And look, it is your resources. It is my resources. Insofar as we don't have an explanation as to the sources, I think it is safe to allege that, look, it could be our resources. It could be some other resources. We don't know. I think perhaps even if it's not for anything, the Office of the Special Prosecutor or the other anti-corruption agencies should begin to show interest, investigate, and establish the source of the resources. I mean, if for nothing, it's just to set the record straight, just to investigate and ask whoever are involved their sources of income and their sources of these resources. And then let's move on. But apart from that, I think in going forward, the media, you must also take a stand and begin to shame people. Look, when you interview people and when you put this thing, point it out to them that their actions of receiving the corruptible resources is equally shameful as much as those who are giving the money. I think we must call a spade a spade. Let's shame everybody. Right. The act is not right. It is not helping. And I think that it's also about time that Ghanaians will begin to vote against people who openly exhibit dishonesty and corrupt practices. Look, it's not a surprise to us that our politicians are not able to fight corruption. No, they get into power through corruptible means and through wrong means. And when they get there, they lose the moral grounds to be able to call a spade, to be able to attack the canker of corruption. Right. They can't, because how did they secure their position? Through questionable means.
Mr. Boedi, thank you so much for your time. We'll leave it here. Michael Boedi is fundraising manager of the GII. Earlier you heard Haruna Mohammed of the NPP and Mustafa Bande of the NDC. Now, voter register exhibition centers in the Ashanti region continue to remain empty as electorate fail to turn up for the exercise. In the Bosomtwe constituency, centers are recording as low as 5 individuals checking their details. Electoral officials believe voters are not turning up. On conviction, their names are rightly captured in the album following their participation in previous elections. There's more in this report by Emmanuel Bright Kweku.
Morning, and these electoral officials at Kontinase in the Bosomtwe district, after setting up their materials for the voter exhibition exercise, are hoping not to end the day without serving an electorate. Close to 1,000 electorates are expected to visit the center to cross-check their details. But the numbers haven't been encouraging since the start of the exercise on Friday. On the first day, a total of 15 persons turned up to confirm their details with the 2 officials stationed at the center. Angelina Quason is one of the electoral officials here.
So far, I'm 8 out of 434.
Yesterday, I had 8 individuals out of 434. There are 3 centers here. One official had 7. The other didn't get any.
In the morning, we were here, nobody came. But
we were here all morning, nobody came. It was in the afternoon that we had one person come around, and also in the evening.
Time intervals, they mean shut down, but
In the Tamale metropolis, the issue of missing names has popped up in several exhibition centers. Our correspondent, Martina Bugri, has more.
The voter exhibition exercise entered day 4 today, but there have been issues of low turnout. Joy News visit to the Sanergu and Tamale South constituency shows an ideal day for most of the officers because people were not coming to the center. At some of the centers, the officers said they had recorded just 1 person for some of the days. Another issue that came up strongly was missing names. All the centers Joy News visited, there were issues of missing names. Let's listen to some of the people who could not find their names.
I'm from Namandu police station. I came here and registered the last just ended registration. So they are doing the exhibition and I went to my police center. I couldn't find my name in the register. So they give me this form to come and find out whether my name is on the computer. So we came here since in the morning. It's just recently that the officer came and said my name is in the computer, but it's not on the list that they brought here to our police station. So they say we should wait. The next list will come. Unless that list comes, we can now find our names inside that. Yes, I'm very worried because we've suffered a lot from here when we are going to do it. So my colleagues, as we just came here, nobody give us food to eat. The same suffering that we suffered to register the distance, and they brought the names and our names are not there. So we are very much worried about it.
You're watching Joy News Prime with me, Bernice Abubeidulansa. A Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia-led government, given the nod in 2024, will be characterized by a focus on environmental conservation, social equity, and economic growth. Speaking at a workshop organized by the University of Cape Coast to mark 10 years of the Center for Coastal Management on Monday, Dr. Bawumia said illegal mining, outlawed fishing activities, and other activities detrimental to the environment will be addressed to provide sustainable jobs. There's more in the following report.
Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia stressed that climate change is a critical global challenge, and it's positive to see that it is receiving attention on the global agenda, including Ghana. Climate change has the potential to affect countries around the world, regardless of their level of development, and its impact can be severe in terms of extreme weather events, rising sea levels, food security, and more. Promising to prioritize climate change in its political manifesto, Vice President Mahmoud Bawumia indicated this can be a significant step in recognizing the importance of climate action and sustainability.
It is possible. Let us leave a legacy of a thriving, sustainable, and vibrant blue economy for generations to come. For all these reasons, the MPP manifesto and my leadership will have a strong, inclusive blue economy component, because I believe in the great potential that an inclusive, sustainable blue economy can contribute significantly to the creation of jobs, food security.
The Pro-Vice Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Professor Boahin, emphasized the significance of climate change during the workshop and advocated for immediate collaboration between the government and academia to address this pressing issue.
Now, staffers and appointees at the office of the Vice President honored him with a guard of honor and a bouquet of flowers on his election as flag bearer of the governing NPP. Addressing them after receiving the package, Dr. Bawumia expressed his gratitude and urged them to get back to work to deliver victory for him and the party in December 2024. Latif Idris was there exclusively for us and reports.
Now, the entire staff of the Office of the Vice President are clad in white to signify victory. And the Vice President, I don't know if he's going to get emotional right now because he didn't know about this surprise package the staff had in stock for him. Usually when his car parks, he gets out almost immediately, but it's taking a couple of seconds for him to get out. Maybe he's trying to process this whole surprise that has been prepared for him. So you see the Vice President shaking his head. So this is coming as a surprise to him. And is he going to shake every single one here? Yeah, so that's the Vice President having pleasantries with the staff of the Office of the Vice President. And you get this only on Joy News. So we'll try and get a few words from the Vice President once he's done and ask him about what he makes of this. So that the Vice President will have a few words.
I want to thank all of you for the hard work and support that you have given me in this journey to become flag bearer and presidential candidate of the great new patriotic party. You've worked very hard. I know sometimes I've been a hard taskmaster, but I think it's all worth it, and I want to thank you. But this is only stage one. So after you celebrate this afternoon, you start work again.
This is Joy News Prime. We'll be back shortly. When we come back, we'll bring you more stories, including one where health officials are raising concerns about health issues among persons who live in communities where illegal mining is rife. Thanks for staying on Joy News Prime with me, Bernice Abubeidulansa. Now, it's been almost 2 years since 18-year-old Godfred Edu stepped in the classroom. A severe pain in his waist is impeding his mobility. This is because his two hips are wearing out as a result of a sickle cell condition. Godfred currently moves around bended over his knees at 90 degrees. He does this with both hands clutched to his two knees like an aged man. His father says a total of 100,000 cedis is needed for him to undergo surgery. Emefa Atiamwa Eli visited Godfred in the central region and reports.
Far away in the heart of Isioko, a hamlet in the Isikuma Odobin Brakwa district of the central region, Godfred is seated on a wooden bench in front of his father's hut. His yellowish eyes are evidence of the anguish his body is enduring. In the same eyes, I see an anxiety for him to be relieved of the excruciating pain which has held him bound and far from his dreams of an enthusiastic teenager who just wants to be in school with his peers.
I'm Godfred. I'm 18 years old. I'm sick. I can't walk.
How better could I tell his story if I don't appreciate his pain? So, with great difficulty, Godfred struggles to get off the bench on which we sat together to demonstrate how he moves about. Firmly holding onto his two knees with both hands to support his posture, he manages a few steps to reach the drying line to pick up some clothes into the room. But when and how did he get here?
I'm in school and I get some pains in my waist, and I call my father to come and take me from school to hospital, and I come home and I can't walk again.
His father, Joseph Edu, a farmer, told me Godfred was diagnosed of sickle cell after seeing the doctor 2 years ago. Both hips are wearing out and cannot support him to stand straight as before. He keeps bending over as a result. Mr. Edu said Godfrey's condition is worsening by the day because of the family's inability to raise 100,000 Ghana cedis for him to undergo surgery.
They transferred us to Koforidua to make surgery. So when we went there, the cost is very high. So we can't do the surgery. So unless the people help us to do the surgery.
How much is the cost of the surgery? What did the hospital tell you?
The doctor said they will do both sides, both sides. So one side is 500 million. So both sides is 1 billion.
Godfrey was informed too at Ejumaku Mando SHS when he fell sick. He wants to become a medical doctor in future.
They should help me to get money to help to do surgery to help myself to walk.
He currently lives on a prayer for that intervention to enable him undergo the life-saving surgery. Amafa Ewenam Atiamwa Eli. For Joy News, it's your call.
Tests conducted by health officials have revealed alarming levels of heavy metals in rivers and water bodies in parts of the Ashanti region. This is casting a shadow of uncertainty over the fate of those affected communities. In part 2 of our latest Hotline documentary titled Poisoned for Gold, Erastus Asare-Donko reports the rivers and water bodies that sustained communities for generations are now battlegrounds of destruction, ravaged by the devastating consequences of illegal mining.
The milky brown color of the rivers and streams flowing across the country indicate suspended particles, including poisonous heavy metals. 2 years ago, residents of Owusu-Mensah in the Ahanta West district of the Western region were drinking the polluted water, but soon they started experiencing strange afflictions, as recounted by Theodora Yamwa, a nurse in charge of the town's CHIPS compound.
Some of them came here with frequent urinating and also burning sensation when they are urinating, and also some came with skin rashes.
We fetched samples from the Tano, Brim, Butre, Ofin, Anuru, Ankobra, Pra, and other polluted sources of water to be tested for heavy metals at the Sheath Laboratory of the KNUST's Chemistry Department. After a week of testing, the results were in.
For standard's sake, we use the World Health Organization standards.
The World Health Organization pegs the acceptable standard for arsenic at 0.0050 milligrams per liter, while the US and Ghana pegs it at 0.010 milligram per liter. The Oda, Brim, Pra, Ankobra, Enru, Ofin, Ashre, Butre, Subri, and Tano registered between 0.216 and 0.444 milligrams per liter, which is 0.434 milligrams higher than acceptable levels. This is 20.6 to 55.6% higher than acceptable levels in water using the American and Ghanaian standards. Dr. Eugene Ansah explains the test results.
All these water samples that are coming from our water bodies in Ghana were found to be acidic in nature, that is having a pH less than 7.
Those are just highlights. You can catch the full documentary much later tonight at 8:30 p.m. right on this channel. Showbiz is up next.